Welcome back, everybody. Alright, so I'm sitting on a new Harbor Freight chair I got. And I'm still trying to figure out this thing, get it adjusted for me. But lowest setting works. I now have a seat to properly sit on, unlike the last video we had. We're back on Supercharged chainsaw. I have got a list here that I made out because every YouTuber does this. And we've got a heck of a list here. This probably isn't even everything. I sat down yesterday for about 20 minutes staring at it, looking at it. But I mean, we've got, pretty good list of things here. Mock up the Tilly carb. I'm going to go with the Tilly carb. It's on the way right now. It's supposed to have been to me yesterday. Today is Sunday, which I'm watching another YouTuber, Musty One, up there. So, but, more on that later. Rebuild Tilly carb. Rebuild the Tilly carb. Throttle cable. Fuel system. Does the new old stock engine? Does it run? If you didn't watch the last video, go check that out, what we're putting in this and everything, why. But I can't mock up a throttle cable without the Tilly carb. That won't be to me till Tuesday, and it's Memorial Day weekend. So I was going to use the Holly. It's a funny thing, haha. But I'm going to try for the Tilly carb first, and then maybe we'll see about, if the Holly will work for shits and giggles. I'm not going to throw out the idea entirely. I mean, it makes for a pretty good laugh. But does the new old stock engine run? I don't know. Will it run? I'm pretty confident that it will. Because, like I say, it's got compression, really good, tight cylinder. Not tight like bad, but good tight cylinder on it. It's got spark and stuff like that. But this new old stock carb on the inside, if the diaphragms are good, that's good. But there's a duckbill valve inside these ball bros, and those tend to turn back into crude oil. I've never messed with the new old stock one, but assuming from the 70s that this has been sitting, it's probably back to crude oil. So they turn gooey and nasty. So, I mean, I have a test thing. I can bolt it to something and whatnot, but I don't have any pull handles yet, so it's on the to-do list on that. So, oiler rod, I got to figure that out too, but I'm going to have to mount it into the final engine here for it. So I'm going to mount this engine up, put painter's tape over to protect it while I do final things. I want to get this supercharger on this engine this video, just because that's what I want. The mock-up, the pretty big mock-up parts are pretty much done on this. Chain, the sprocket for the chain and everything. What am I going to do for this? There is clearance there to be able to make it happen. That's what I made sure before I did any of this and whatnot. But before I designed my pulley, which we'll get to that here in a moment too, because there's a belt on it, but here's the 3D printed one in my hand. So I have its metal pulley. We'll get to that, like I say, here in a minute. Super thanks to Jeremy. We have belt guard. Am I going to run one? It would probably be the safe bet. Supercharger oil. Some say they come with oils, some say they don't. This is a cheaper unit. It may not have it on there. I don't know. So, kill switch. Well, we got to have a way to turn this off. I mean, I could just plug the top of the carb and everything. So, there's that, but I also want to put a kill switch on it. Left side pull starter. The new old stock engine does have the provisions for that. I do have starter dogs and everything for this. I need to get a pull starter for it. So that I will be thinking about just to have it on there. With a decomp, I'm fairly certain one could turn this over 3 times before they're on the ground dying. So there's that. We'll think about that too. Fuel pump. So if we run the Holly, we will have to have a fuel pump of some sort of pressure pulse Walbro ones that you get off of eBay. Those would be pretty good. I know where to tap in on them, on these for that. A lot of guys would drill a spot down here on these engines and put a barb in there. And I'm guilty of doing that, copying them on that idea. So not a bad idea. But for the Tilly carb, they have built-in pumps. The one on the way, I don't know if it's an internal or external on the pump or whatnot. So I know it's an external, but I mean like the barb, there's usually there could be an external for the barb to pump. I think mine up there, I'm not sure. how it is or whatnot. It's been so long since I've looked at it to do that, but there's that idea to do that for the pump. So, well, I need a pump. I don't know. I got to get the carb in the mail. Eliminate sharp edges, like right here, and on adapter plates and stuff like that. I did give it a bath. The chrome came out great. There's a little bit of plastic still melted on this. I got to take a razor blade to that, but the chrome survived 100%. No problems on it. The soot, I scrubbed with those SOS steel wool pads with the blue goo stuff, whatever inside. Cleaned up the chrome, cleaned up this the best I can, and this is just this one, and I've got lots of them up there that have that soot on them, and it's like, oh my God, there's no real scrubbing it off. It's going to take a really, and that's degreaser I also put on there, mean green degreaser, and it didn't cut it very well. That soot from the fire, the foam specifically, just cakes everything. So I've got to think of what to do for a lot of those saws on what am I going to do for that. So, but that's thinking of those. This is what we're focused on. So this is like, say, these first four things I can't do anything with until we get the utility cart. But what I can do is get the supercharger mounted on here. And now let's get to that sprocket here, by the way. Let's get to that. Let's see here so we can... Hi. Let's see if I remember how to do this. There we go. So many buttons. So, we got down here our metal sprocket, as you see right here. So, super thanks to Jereme. I can't pronounce the last names. Jereme R. We'll do that. Super thank you for machining that out. 8 months ago was the last time I actually worked on the saw. Took pictures of it on the workbench in its form and everything, and then soon after the fire happened, 9 days later, that happened. So, but we were already in the talks and the works of him machining pulley out for me, and he got that done up for me. But he got it started. The fire happened. 8 months later, I contacted him after I was ready. He got that out of his toolbox and finished it up and got it shipped to me within like 2 days of it being done. But anyways, here is a video of him describing his process on what he is doing on making it and everything, what material, everything. So here you go.
This is a piece of 1045 I just had laying around. It's really gummy. You can see it's not creating a nice chip. It's just kind of this stringy stuff. I experiment with different speeds, feeds, RPM, all that kind of stuff, different inserts, trying to fix it. It's just kind of a gummy steel. And here, that black insert is ceramic. I'll do most of the rest of the turning with that ceramic. It's a really nice, hard, sharp insert, and you run it at a high RPM, so it gives you this nice, shiny finish. Checking with an old school mic here, just trying to get the dimensions accurate to Brian's 3D render, 3D blueprint. Still a little large. Take a few more passes here, measure. It's always better to measure more often than not, because you can always take off more you can't put back. We're still a little large, about 14 thou it looks like. A couple more finish passes. Proof's in the pudding. Check the mic. Dead on. Just cutting off the face here, and now with a Sharpie and a caliper, we'll lay out the depth of our little step on the end of this pulley. I'll measure it with a depth mic to get it perfect. 400 thousandths, just what's called for. Put a little chamfer on, do a little file work to soften all the sharp edges. Here I'm making the actual cutter for cutting the V-groove notch in the pulley. So with pretty coarse grits on the wheel and the belt here, just roughing in everything, putting on the reliefs underneath the cutting edges so that nothing rubs or binds. See there how it all, the cutting point is the widest part of the tool. Switch over to a 220 grit belt here to do some finer detail work. See how it's much shinier now. And then lastly, we'll swap over to an 800 grit belt, do the final sharpen. This needs to be sharp like a pocket knife. You can see there it's quite nice. Here we're cutting this in, and again we'll lay it out with the caliper here in the Sharpie to get my groove the right width. And even though this is a pretty thick piece of steel, you see those marks in the bottom of the pulley? Those are chatter marks, so I have to bring in the tailstock with a live center to support it, make it more rigid, and that cleans up beautifully. Gets rid of all those chatter marks. I drill out the center here just to get it big enough to basically begin boring, and it's much easier to part stuff off that has a center hole. So part it off, catch it on the spigot of the oil can. Then I swapped over to the 4-jaw chuck because the 3-jaw will inherently have some run out, and I want this to be very concentric because it's on a chainsaw motor that's going to turn I don't know how many RPM. But here we can see each one of these marks is a 1/2 thousandth, and we're within a 1/2 thousandth, which is tight enough by my book. Come in with a boring bar, check it with, these are called snap gauges. You can measure the inside bore of smaller bores like this very easily with a caliper or a micrometer. And again, sneak up on it in little chunks. It's way easier to keep taking off a few thou rather than overshoot it and then be, well, this part's scrapped. And the final check is with a micrometer. You can see here 754. Gives it 4 thousandths clearance on his 750 crankshaft. This is the tool for cutting the keyway. Again, the cutting tip is the widest point. Everything else is relieved. And then with the carriage, we'll just run it in by hand. You see a little chip come out of the back there. And repeat. And then there it is done, except for I forgot to film adding the set screws. But Brian can show you the set screws on the finished part. There's 2, one in the bottom of the V-groove and one out here on this little step.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead, start the task of completely disassembling this all the way down. I've got the welding table over there. I'm going to, yeah, I know, I think I'm going to order another one of those or something like that too. The tiller is really in the way. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I mean, I like it and everything. It's really good for gardening, but it's big in size, and like I say, it's, I don't know. I gotta find somewhere to put it. I'm out of space in the shed, so. But I need a spot where I can disassemble stuff, put it to the side, and then I can reassemble up and back and do that and whatnot. So it's kind of what to do. Oh, also, we've got shop air. So I got that all hooked up. Compressor to 50-foot reel, a regulator that has self-draining water catches on it and everything. So we've got shop air for the drill press, and I've got it right here at my hand to blow something off and out of the way. I have safety glasses, I have a respirator, and hearing protection. I've got a ventilation system that I still have to engineer for the window and whatnot. I've got a lot to do, a lot of off-camera work to do. 3-day weekend. Yesterday I took a day to have a cookout and whatnot, and now the next 2 days is going to be focusing on getting this disassembled and put back on here. Painting, yeah, don't remind me. I've got to figure that out. Yeah, the Supercharger, I want it to be white. So that'll be probably done when it's on this engine and everything, but we'll see. I just really want to get this. This might be still, like I say, this is mock-up. This is still mock-up with the new engine, make sure everything's good, and then we will transition over. I have the rear plate here I need to eliminate off of this bottom brace and stuff like that. There's a lot to do, and I doubt I'm going to be able to check any of these off of this list today. So anyways, I'll be back when I've got it disassembled into pieces, making sure I've got everything good to go, and then we will start the task of disassembling what we need off of this in order to put all this onto there. Super excited. All right, stripped down. I got most of that crap off the Supercharger, along with that shitty paint they put on that from the factory, you know, to make it look better. I'm probably going to hit it some more. This is not going to be the last time I put this together, obviously. I've kind of determined that in my mind and whatnot. So, all stripped down. And that's the beauty of this big old design here, is I can keep all this together and be good. But I'm going to make sure everything's going to be happy, fit, and whatnot on our new old stock setup. Now, one thing I do know is that my bracket over here, I'm going to have to clearance this out a little bit, I'm pretty sure, right here, to clear my the shroud on that one, which I took this one off of here. I'll probably cut these off later. I'm just, like I say, get mock up here. This is when Daddy needs a sandblaster or something to clean this crap. But either way, the engineering that is to put a supercharger on a V4. This really ticked my brain. Right here, it could get close to trying to leak, but the gasket, thanks to Brian at Old Saw Shop, down here, this is a really thick gasket, and that does the job just fine, which I've got more of them somewhere around here. I've got more gaskets for projects, but either way, now I gotta get this stuff on that. I'm ready. So I've stripped down quite a bit, got intake off, whatnot, nice shiny card. All hardware, whatnot. I drilled out the factory holes, which don't line up with nuts at all. So I had to wallow it out with some carbide bits in the drill. So nuts are good. Don't forget to put those in there. And then I'm not going to put the oil tank on yet. What is going to be done here is dumb stuff, as somebody's probably already said, but super cool. I'm going to mount the Supercharger, everything on this, and then what will be happening is I will mount it onto this test stand thingy. And we will run it, bolt that down to something, and we'll run it on that. And then if it's determined everything is running good, then I will we'll tear stuff back off to paint it and make it look pretty and whatnot, you know. But yeah, I've got to attach all the outside tank stuff and whatnot, make sure everything clearances and stuff. Fuel tank, I don't have to mount that on per se yet, because I have got, you guys probably seen it over here, one of these IV bottle universal gas tank things finally. And inside of it's got fuel line and shut-off valve and everything. But I finally got one of those. So wherever I decide to run that is going to be the spot. I also, I know I'm doing circles here. I bought, I think I already said it. Oh yes, here we go. 6 inches of fan duct and heavy-duty ducting stuff. Like the last garage, we had a setup to go out the window. So I've got to get a setup built so that I can run that in here. And I also have a GEM muffler on the inside of the hat. No, it's up here. Everything's out here. That's right. I'm up here somewhere in the 125 parts and everything. There's a GEM muffler that we might use. I don't know. So we'll get that figured out. We'll get that figured out. It's a matter of how fast do I want to put it together. But I'm also watching my Junkyard Digs and stuff like that, old episodes. But I like it just rambling in the background and whatnot. So that's why I'm not showing too much. I know, kind of sucks. But makes for really long videos. And I don't make long videos that are interesting enough. So, except for the Indian. That one got like 400 more views than I thought it would. 375, something like that. I was expecting like 2 views on that one. So, I'm still on the fence about painting the Supercharger. I kind of like the look of the ugly ass silver after I get it all done and whatnot. So, but yeah, we got to take it all back apart at one point. So that's why I'm not going to paint anything right now. Kind of stared at the $13 can of spray paint at AutoZone for a little bit. Ceramic white or whatever it is. But all right, I'm going to keep trucking on. Get this put together. We can hope like hell that everything's gonna fit. It should fit. I don't see a reason. They're the same engines. Inside this thing looks phenomenal. It is absolutely beautiful. I've wiped it down from WD-40 that I put into it to keep going. I don't see any rust on the weights or nothing. It's got the really good connecting rod bolts on it. So we are set to have a fun time with this. Not a long time, probably, just a fun time. So we do have spark. As far as killing that spark, oh yeah, there's a terminal right in here somewhere. Right there that we could hook to at some point in the future. So it's all futuristic. Ooh, better tighten that down. Bolt stuff. So, all right, I'm gonna keep on assembling this. Listen to my TV in the background. Oh, and there you go. From no, you won't sponsor me again. We're here. Not that we've had any fallout or anything. Brian's super cool and everything. I just put this order in because I wanted to put the order in. So, all right. I will put your stickers up here if they fit on my workbench. I was an idiot and put the GEM up there, so it'll just stick there. But, oh yeah, and what the Supercharger pulley arrived in. Yeah, definitely not. I'm gonna keep that just because it looks cool. Cops bust in here one day. What are you doing? Building engines. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of afraid for what we've got going on here. So, it has spark. It has compression. I put the Holley on top to regulate vacuum, which it won't do at all because it sticks open. But I've already cleaned out the bore of the Holley, so gasket on it, bolted down. Enough of a concept of will it run, and I'm scared. I'm actually kind of afraid I got to this point. I've been making this up since last June, so it's been almost a year, and I've got it bolted together here now, and I'm looking at this like, is he really gonna do this? Have I really gotten to that point where this is going to happen? Belt's tensioned. Woodruff keys in. Got this Allen screw down. Got a muffler on. Not new, stock, but aftermarket. Question is, will it run? Do I put it through the spark plug? I put oil down into the supercharger. I'm truthfully afraid of this. Just because of what it is. Wish I had a decomp button on it. If it fires over, I'm going to go in for the day. It's kind of scary. It really is. Inside looked good and tight. Everything was the way it should. I inspected it. I doubt it's going to make any boost. I doubt it's going to do anything weirdo. Right, here in protection. Oh, man. Alright, so I'm probably going to have earmuff syndrome where I'm going to be real loud, but is this how you break your wrist? You see it? It went. It was trying to wide open because there's not really any regulation from the carb. But it fired. It fired with a supercharger on it. Oh my God. Oh, I'm shaking. Oh my God, that took off. Right. Woo. One more. Because it wants to wide open with this carburetor. There's no real regulation. I don't even have a gasket actually underneath this adapter plate right here, so that right there. Oh my gosh. And I gotta get the other Tilly carb in. That fired right over with the drill on the supercharger. Oh, it undid the nut too. Holy crap. I got to get one of those anti-reverse, whatchamacallit sockets. Okay, take care of protection. I do not like those at all. They're not comfortable. I could turn it over. That's a really hefty nut, but I need one of those anti-reverse ones, and I had one. I can't remember what it was. I do have my electric starter outside, but I need to build a case for that or something to jumper wires. I don't know. We'll try it one more time with this. One more. Holy crap. Oh my goodness. But it ran. And it was going to run fast. Just enough to wet her lips. Proof of concept. Will it run with a supercharge on top of it? Alright, running is running. Not doing stock anymore. Alright. Big old puff of smoke. One more. I do not like these at all. These are complete garbage. For show, pro for show. These are garbage. Oh my god. All right, ready? We got a good position here. We're good. We're gonna call that good. We're gonna call that good. She wants to run. It's trying to take the nut off of that. I know I want it to run longer, but oh my god, get those garbage things off. Those are, oh my god. I'm gonna give those a crappy rating. We are, oh my gosh. This drill has some nuts to it to turn that over. Spark plug's off. Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to weld a nut onto like an anti-reverse one or something figured out so it just slide off, because that's got a really tight fit to it. But it runs with, and I want to dribble fuel down inside of it, but man, I can't even see in there. Where's my light at, guys? Gals, hit that like button. Hit that button, please. Subscribe. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking. Where is, oh yeah, my light's up on top. I'm still getting used to where I put everything in this toolbox. Yeah, closed is all the way this way. So pretty much this is wide open throttle for this engine. That is, yeah, that's closed. But, oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Woo! I know you guys are yelling one more. That's absolutely scary. That is scary. Scary good. Now I'm gonna stop it there. I don't know if that supercharger has oil in it, but that is definite 100%. We are going to be continuing with the world's first supercharged McCulloch chainsaw. I would presume the world's first, because supercharging a two-stroke is dumb unless it was a Detroit. And this is just for show, and I have a feeling this thing is going to kick my butt. Like I said, the ability to shut air and fuel off is going to be the biggest thing, so we're going to have to make sure she's really good with the gaskets, and I am pretty sure from here up is good. Underneath this plate there wasn't. I put one here for getting that, but it was one less leak. So it's pretty flat and on there and everything corroded on there, it looks like. So if anything, it's just wide open through this, and also vacuum leaks here and stuff like that. But that was a running McCulloch engine with a supercharger mounted on top. So, all right, I'm going to call it a day. Like, comment, subscribe. we've got a lot to go. But what are we? Closer than we were. I mean, this is super thanks to Jereme for machining that pulley. Holy crap. I got to go back and rewatch that. I don't even have it on my phone. So I've got to extract it off the DJI. But that's phenomenal. That's wild. What was I thinking? It was just some stupid concept at work I had. It was just thinking turbo it because, of two-stroke stuff, and he put a turbo on one, and I saw he had a supercharge on it, and I understand how he gets it to work on there. But the same token, I'm like, I can do that. And that's a $110 supercharger off of eBay. Oh my gosh, I have put almost a year into this thought process, this idea and everything. I think I'm at about 11 months. But yeah, this is wild. We definitely got to get the other carburetor mounted on, and when it arrives, get everything set. Technically, I don't have a carb for it. I could put a carb on top of it without the supercharger, but I don't want to go back through all that right now. But did you hear that? You heard the supercharger. Oh my gosh, there was a lot that happened quick in that, like 2 seconds. So, all right, I'm signing off. We're going to end it on this one. And hopefully the next one will be rebuilding a carburetor, going through it, making the adapter plate, and getting that on top. I got this done a day early, but I don't need to mount the body onto this. That's what I don't need to do. Once I get this running, then the body, I could just straight paint it and put it on and mock up for throttle cables and stuff. Maybe the body will go back on at least for the throttle cable in the back and stuff, but whew, okay. All right, till then, thanks for watching. Get out in your garage and do something, guys, gals. Get out there. Engineer yourself something, crazy. All right, till then, thanks for watching.